Alright, boys, I just watched Hell's Paradise Season 1 in preparation for Season 2, and these are my thoughts. Hell's Paradise follows the story of our main character, Gabimaru, after he's been offered a pardon to go to a place called Paradise, in which, if he finds the elixir of life, he will be given this pardon and allowed to go back and see his wife. And since we already started talking about characters, let me say, the show is either very hit or very miss. It introduces a lot of characters that it feels like it offs almost as instantly as they're introduced. We're given a total of 20 at the start of the series, and then over half of them are gone before we're even halfway through, which isn't necessarily bad, but if you're not going to use them, don't bother introducing them. But when the series does hit its stride, you get goats like Tenzin, who may or may not have the best series episode as far as Season 1, but Tenzin, absolute highlight. He's given 3 episodes of focus, and he's absolutely fantastic in every moment he's done. He's well actualized, which does tie in to another positive and negative of the series, being that Hell's Paradise pacing is extremely fast, which is good if you do want the momentum, but it does lose itself in that the series gets very wordy and both over and under explains things because of the speed at which it's moving. There's parts that should feel more fleshed out that aren't, and there's parts that aren't fleshed out enough that do feel like they are. It's an odd and weird dilemma, and excuse me there. It's interesting as well because on top of having characters that aren't fleshed out, it also has entire power systems that aren't. Tao is the power system introduced within Hell's Paradise, and it is very Hindu and Buddhist based, as the majority of this series is, but you can tell that a lot of what they wanted to do isn't fully explained or built upon. Now, obviously, I haven't started Season 2, so we're going to see where I land on where this is later, but in short, as it stands, Tao isn't the best power system I've ever seen. I will add, I do like the Pokemon aspect to it though, and that different parts of Tao are weaker to other parts as introduced in the final episode. But I did speak on the characters, and I do want to throw a little bit of highlight towards the Tenzin, the main antagonist of Hell's Paradise. Both with the same strengths that a lot of this series has. They're introduced very in the middle, so they don't get enough time to be fully explained, but they're also given moments to shine, and particularly this one right here with the dandelion on his face and orange hair right here. They're interesting and they're dynamically scary because they do play into one of the strongest strengths of Hell's Paradise, being these absolutely beautiful backdrops, which ties into one of my favorite tropes that we don't get to see nearly enough of, daytime horror. Because in addition to the beautiful backdrops with these vivid and vibrant colors that they consistently use, it has the addition of having these dark, brooding, brash colors against it, and these dark settings that just look and feel violent, and it works exceptionally well. But this is a battle shonen, so let me not forget, the action is fun and very, very ultra violent if you quite enjoy that, like I did. It's held back by one major thing though. This is made by MAPPA, and it feels like the action is just so locked in to this lack of frenetic energy that MAPPA consistently has, with very dynamic camera angles and just intense focus on motion and choreography that isn't in Hell's Paradise. It's not bad, but it's certainly not MAPPA's best work. Not that there aren't some highlights. But all in all, after finishing Hell's Paradise, I will still say I had an absolute blast with the series, in addition to the flaws that it does have. I can fully see why this is part of the Dark Trio and deserves way more respect than it gets. Yes, Jujutsu Kaisen and Chainsaw Man are great, but this show still deserves its flowers, and I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. Have a good one.